How's it going, everybody? So I want to do a video today about just some easy things to learn about getting started with brewing. So all these names I'm about to tell you about, I learned while starting to brew, and it took me a little while because they was kind of all over the place. I didn't find a good direct source of just all this basic terminology right off the bat. So this is going to help you get started with brewing and help started with finding the stuff you need to brew, like all your equipment. So again, what happened to me was I started brewing and reading different recipes. I kind of learned all this stuff, but it took time because I was reading it over time. Instead, I want to give this to you up front so you can figure out what the recipe means, what they're asking for, and interchangeable words as well. So that way, as you're reading it, you're like, what does that mean? I was doing this, but it's probably the same thing. But this is why I wanted to make this video, to help you get started. So for your grains, you're going to hear the word malt or grains or grain bill. So malt could really be a couple things. Could be the actual liquid extract, or malt just means the grains itself. And there's different types of malt. That's a totally different video. And then grain bill. So like, okay, here's your recipe, and read over your grain bill, or get your grain bill. What that means is you might have like 10 pounds of two-row and a pound of Munich and a pound of this and a pound of that. So that's what the grain bill means. And it's all the same thing I just described: malt, grains, or grain bill. Again, it could be all grains, or it could be liquid malt extract as well. And then the whether you're buying it online or in the store, either one could help you there. And as far as your yeast goes, it could be dry or liquid, so make sure you know the difference when you're finding a recipe and looking over that recipe. And again, the store can help you at the brewing store, or when you buy online, you'll see a packet or like a vial or a package that's a little bigger. It'll tell you if it's dry or liquid though. Next is when you're looking over your recipe, you're going to you see the word gravity. You're going to see the OG and FG. What that means is, based on how much sugar is in your recipe, will be your gravity. The original gravity is how you finished your brew day at the end of boiling and such like that. And the FG will be the final gravity, which is the finished product, which will in turn give our next word, which is ABV. There's a calculator online I always went to. I just typed in gravity calculator. I think Brewer's Friend, brewersfriend.com comes up. It's a good calculator. You type in the OG and the FG, original and final gravities. And once you punch those in, it'll give you the alcohol by volume, your percent that you want to tell your friends you made beer of. So look, I made 7% beer. As you're buying your equipment, you're going to see the word kettle or pot interchanged. All it means is this: your brew pot. It could be either one, brewing kettle or your pot. When you buy a kettle, it could be a 5-gallon, 10-gallon, 30-gallon, 50-gallon, etc. If you go to a brewery and get a tour, they're like, "This is my brewing kettle." It could be 15 barrels. They won't see pot for that word for a larger brewery like that. But for homebrew stuff, you're going to see the word kettle or pots interchangeable. Again, you might all know a lot of these words, but I want to make sure for the people that are just trying to learn, has a somewhere to start. Next, mash tun is another word. That's for your all grain brewers. You won't see that in the extract stuff yet, but if someone's asking you, do you have a mash tun? Like, nope, I extract brew, which means you use the liquid, you don't use the grains yet. And the outside the bag and the soak part of that. Next is fermenter. It's where you're going to put your beer. It could be a plastic, this bucket looking thing. It could be a carboy, glass or plastic. I recommend plastic. Just make sure you clean it. Glass can break. A lot of people use it, but it's okay. Could be a stainless steel one as well. But that's what you're going to see for fermenter. It could be either one of those. And it will also, you'll see the word airlock. You want to make sure you have an airlock on yours. Now, this is for the all grain side, but the next word is sparge. All that really simply means is that you're rinsing the sugars off. So for this is probably a whole separate video, but just to make it easy for you, when you mash your grains the first time, that's your first runnings. Second runnings is the sparge, and it literally means you're just rinsing off the remaining sugars from that first mash. And of course, I already mentioned this one, but I put this on the list anyway, is all grain or extract. It's either all grains or you have mostly an extract. And the extract is like a liquidy, malt, liquid syrup stuff. Then you're going to see the word hydrometer and refractometer. These two should have been after the gravity. This is how you take a reading of your gravity. A hydrometer is just like a tube that sits on the table. You pour in your wort once it's cooled down, of course. Or a refractometer is a little sight glass looking contraption, and you read it like that. Let's do a separate video for how to use those things. This is more just high level knowledge today. Next is you're going to see the pitch yeast. I put this on here because when you see the word pitch yeast, to me the word pitch says throw something away. You're not throwing it away. You're putting the yeast into the fermenter once that wort has cooled down. The next word is wort. If you're reading it, spelled like wort, so it sounds horrible, but actually it's a good thing. It's your finished sugary water, hopped up water product before you add yeast. So it's not beer yet. You made sugary water with hops. But that word is wort. Once you add the yeast and that ferments, now you have beer, and now you know. After you pitch the yeast, you're going to have Krausen. It's a German word. I don't know the exact definition of that, but it's okay. What you're looking for, though, is if you have a plastic fermenter or a carboy, you're going to usually see it. Don't open it to see it. If you can't, you just have to take my word for it. It's happening, especially if you have airlock activity like bubbles. All it is so here's where your wort finished at this level, right? We'll call it 5 gallons in a 6 or 7 gallon bucket. About an inch or so above that level of liquid, you're going to see stuff growing. That's your yeast working, which is a good thing. It's all going to fall down to the bottom when it's over, but that's called high Krausen. It usually gets there about 24 to 48 hours after a brew day. So you're going to look for that outside of your fermenter, not inside. Trust me. Next, you're going to see on a brew recipe a minute associated with each hop addition. So what the heck am I talking about? So you're going to open a recipe, you're going to see the final original gravity that you should be shooting for, the name of the recipe and stuff like that, and then how many gallons it is. But you're going to see the grain bill, and then at the end of that, you're going to see, depends on the beer, but it's called for an IPA of 4 different hop additions. You're going to see 60 minutes, 30, there's other variations by the way, but we'll keep this simple. 60 minutes, 30 minutes, 10 and 5 minutes, or something like that. It's actually into or a 0, we'll add a 5th one. So what those each minutes means is, it says 60, that means you have 60 minutes left of your boil. So what you would do is you collect all your wort from the mash tun, put it on your stove or outside in your cooker, and once the wort starts boiling, now you have 60 minutes remaining to finish boiling your beer. So if your beer recipe calls for 60 minutes of hop addition, that's when you add your first hops. If it says 30, you do it with 30 left, and 10 and 5 left, all with how many minutes are left. Is that easy, right? 0 means flame out. So you turn the heat off and you add some then. This will give you some good aroma. You're also going to see numbers. So those are all counting down. When you see the numbers going up, those are in days form. That's for your dry hop additions and days after you were done fermenting. So if it says 3 days, it will actually specify if after done fermenting or after when you pitch the yeast. If you see it in 3 days, you add 3 days after you're done pitching the yeast. If you see it in 10 or 14 days, it's 14 days after pitching the yeast. And again, the hop additions for your boiling will be in minutes and going down. Your dry hop will be in days going up. And that's from the day of pitching the yeast. Next, we have secondary. Again, I mentioned this in a couple of different videos. I don't always recommend secondary fermentation, especially for newer brewers. What you want to do if you do a secondary fermentation is first watch the video. But all it means is grabbing the beer off the primary fermentation and then adding it to a secondary one, getting it off the yeast. People do that to age. That's the next thing I have in here is Asian secondary. You'll do this if you want to add fruit, if you want to add some bourbon barrel chips and stuff like that to that second fermentation and get it off the yeast. Again, watch the video. That's a whole other opinion of mine. But if you're a new brewer, I don't recommend doing secondary right away. That's for sure. Then this one really got me when I first started brewing too. It's called racking. All that means is you're taking that beer. Technically, you're racking it into secondary too. You can use that. You're racking it into your keg or your bottles. The word rack just means package. I'm not sure where the word came from, but when you see the word rack your beer, you're not putting it on a rack in the shelf in the basement. You're taking it off from the fermenter into the your keg or bottles. Next, we have priming sugar. So if you do bottles, especially, you're going to get sugar from your kit possibly or separately, and then there's a whole bunch of instructions for that. Not a whole bunch, just I guess I'm bad. It's a quick way to add sugar to your bottles, and when you add the beer, it's how those two react, and you get carbonation. But priming sugar is for carbonation. There's a couple different variations of priming sugar, but your recipe would usually specify, and then also a volume attached to that as well. There's a little more math to that one, but when you see priming sugar, that's what that means. This one is a acronym you're going to see a lot online, is LHBS. That's your local home brew store. That's all I have for the list of vocabulary sort of words that helps you get started. I thought this might be easy for at least hopefully one person, and that's all that matters is one person got a little better at their brewing. There's a question that people want to ask, because if you ask questions online, everyone wants to jump you and act crazy about a simple question, but that's not how brewers should be. It should be helping everyone out. Again, these are all pretty easy words for most brewers, but if you're getting started, you don't know where to get started. So hopefully this will get you past that first step. I know I took a few months of reading a ton of stuff before I even bought my first anything. Eventually, once I figured out what I was doing, reading everything became a lot easier. So hopefully this helps you get that jump, and you don't have to wait a few months to start your first brew like I did. I just read everything like crazy. Instead, I'd rather just start as quick as possible. As always, send me a question in the comments. My email is on the About Me thing here on YouTube somewhere. Also, if you want a separate video for anything more further explained, I'm definitely happy to do that. Look forward to any suggestions and feedback, of course. And thanks for subscribing, and thanks for liking this video. Cheers.